Okay, so now a bit more about what is happening in Qubes OS. So welcome again. I'm Marek Marczykowski-Grecki. Yeah, I think I will skip this one. So I will talk a bit about Qubes 4.2. Just a bit, a lot about 4.3, but also a bit about team and the community. So 4.3 is the currently stable version. There is 4.2.4 with Fedora 41 template and Debian 12. There is work on 4.2.5 with Fedora 42, which is already stable and from some time. But there is, and also Debian 13, Debian Qrexec. The template is currently in testing. There are still some issues, but once we fix those, the template will be ready, and then we will be releasing also point release for 4.2. I think this will be the last point release because in the meantime we are also working on Qubes 4.3. And we are also working on a new Fedora template. Fedora 43 is in preparation. I think the upstream status is in beta. If I remember correctly, it's going to be released in some weeks. But that will probably not be supported on 4.2, only 4.3. We'll see, but yeah, that's the current plan. So, what about 4.3? There was a lot of points already last year. So you have a list. You can go to the last year presentation if you want to know more details. And today I will be focusing on stuff that happened since then, and there is quite a lot of those. So there was this faster disposable Qube startup. This was a plan to do, and now it's actually done. So new templates. Nothing special about them. There is a notification proxy, some better support for external displays, clipboard size. This is a small change, but I think very important for some. PCI device identification, per device policy for input proxy, dynamic audio VM switch. I will talk about some of those in more details in a moment, and there is more. So notification proxy. So this is when a Qube sends a notification. It used to be like there is a notification daemon in each Qube that will display a pop-up with the notification. It's fine, but if, for example, if two Qubes is trying to display a notification at the same time, they don't know anything about each other, so they will display the notification in the same place. This is also problematic if with the upcoming Wayland migration, because those notifications are a weird type of Windows with the override to redirect flag, which is not supported on Wayland. So the proper way to do that is to use dbus protocol for notifications. So we have a proxy. The proxy will take the role of notification daemon in a Qube and then forward it to wherever you run your desktop environment, by default in .0. There is a lot of validation of all the messages. Not everything is allowed. Not all the features are supported currently. For example, the current version is quite strict about icon in the notification. It will use the Qube icon. We'll improve it at some point, but this is how it's done currently. But the nice thing is you get a consistent view of the notifications, so they don't no longer overlap each other. And if your notification daemon in DOM0 supports notification history, which is the case in KDE. It's also nicely integrated, so you see the history of notifications there. So, and another thing is it's no longer a window shown by the VM. It's just some API. So that works also for Qubes without GUI at all, which will be interesting for some unikernel VMs or even normal Linux, but with GUI disabled. For example, sysfirewall has currently the full X server running inside. The only reason for that is to display notification when firewall loading fails. So we can disable that. Save some megabytes of memory. And on the graphical side, I don't know how many of you hit this issue before, but when you connect some external monitor or projector or whatever that has a bigger resolution, mouse doesn't work on that monitor anymore. The issue is that it used to be that video RAM needs to be configured at the start of X server and cannot be changed later. So if you need more space and more memory for like larger screen, it's not there. By default, we reserve some extra for, I think, up to 1 extra full HD output. Depending on the layout, but that's not always enough. You can configure it, or you can simply restart a cube after connecting display. Sounds silly, but it works. But in 4.3, we finally managed to fix that. There was some observation that one of those buffers is actually not needed. So we, instead of trying to find how to dynamically reconfigure it, we simply dropped it. And it works. So PCI devices. This is something that is kind of a rare problem, especially on laptops, but happens more often on desktop systems. When you plug in a PCI device, depending on the layout of the devices, it sometimes plugging one device changes identification of other devices you have in your system. And then if one of those devices is, for example, your network card, then your sysnet will get a different device or will get no device at all, which is a problem. And even bigger problem is if that sysnet will get a different device, which, for example, may be your NVMe drive, which is not good. So we changed how we identify the PCI devices. So instead of taking just the there is a okay, whatever. BDF, we now take the whole path from the PCI root port for all the bridges. So that should be remain static if you plug in other devices. But if that still changes for some reason, for example, you take your installation to different system or you change the main board of the system, that surely will change something. With, as a last resort, we also verify vendor and product identifier. So at least the sysnet or sysUSB or whatever will not take some random device and simply refuse to start instead. Just a second safety measure here. This is kind of connected to device API refactor that is done in 4.3. So this vendor product identifier is also available for other type of devices like USB. But yeah, it's especially useful here. Another thing related to devices. Sometimes you can use some external input device like USB mouse or this thing to change slides. And It used to be the case that there are Qubes input something services, and if you have multiple devices, you get multiple prompts if you set the policy to ask you anytime, or if you set to allow. There's also multiple of those calls depending on how many devices you have. But there was no way to distinguish which prompt was for which device. So there was a feature request for many years. And the solution was very simple: to simply put some kind of device identifier in the service argument. It's just some number, so without like looking at LSUSB or something, it's meaningless. But if you check it or if you plug it, you can see this specific identifier, and then you can save it in the policy. Currently, actually using this in the policy requires manually changing that policy. I hope we'll integrate it better with GUI configuration tools. We have this place where you can select whether to allow or ask or deny different type of devices like keyboard, mouse, and tablet. So we'll do something to maybe select which device or something. Marta is not happy. And if you install during the installation, you also get a list of input devices that are there. If you use USB keyboard, automatically USB keyboard is allowed, because otherwise you will not be able to interact with the system after installation. So that part knows the list of devices, but still doesn't set up the policy for specific devices yet. But this is something to improve. Maybe some of that will happen still before the final release. We'll see. Dynamic audio VM switch. So this is a lot of work for a very special use case. Apparently, there are people that use some audio on USB, or maybe even Bluetooth. I don't know why, but there. So to do that, to use that, on Qubes, you need to set audio VM to be sys-USB, basically. Or a separate cube with connected your audio devices. That's fine. But if your main usage is using internal sound card, then that internal sound card doesn't work anymore. In that case, unless you also connect it to this separate cube. But the more convenient would be if you can simply switch whether you want to use USB device or the internal one. This used to require restarting all the involved cubes, which is not great. But now you can dynamically switch which cube is used for, which VM is used for audio, and yeah, it should work. As a side effect, it also should remember if you had a microphone enabled for that VM or not. This setting used to be reset, and the device widget got confused if the microphone is connected or not. So this also should be fixed as a side effect. Boot modes. This is some interesting contribution from Qrexec and Honix developers, because they introduced boot modes in the non-Qubes deployment with VirtualBox, I think. They simply have a boot menu in Grub with different options, whether you want to boot as a normal user, and then you don't have access to root at all, or as for maintenance, then you have root access, but all the most of the services and processes are disabled. So this is some quite extreme hardening here. But you don't see bootloader in Qubes of the VMs. So they needed some solution here. So the idea is that template can advertise what boot modes it supports. and which kernel parameters should be included in which boot mode. And then you can go to Qube settings and select which boot mode to use, and then Qube will get boot mode specific kernel parameters, and then it can affect what kernel, some kernel configuration, but also user space can read kernel command line and can do something about it. There's some parameters also. It can configure how systemd behave, and I think this is what they use. But the feature is generic, so it can be used also in different cases if needed. Yeah. So another thing, very small but very useful. If you have some cubes that you still want to keep, but you don't really use them for some reason, and then there are two things. One is if you really don't want to start it by accident, by misclicking something, you can set a flag to prevent starting it, and then attempt to start it will show you an error that no, you set to prevent this. Prevent starting, and you can even set some description why you did that, so we get it in the error message. So this prevents an accident, but it affects how you start it from the menu. Basically, any method how you start from the menu, or maybe when you copy, like have this file copy prompt and you select wrong cube. So any method how you would start a VM, it will be prevented if you set this flag. And similar for updates. You can set a flag for some cube to not be included in standard updates, which means it will the prompt for update will not include that, even if the system knows there are some updates, or maybe it's even not supported anymore. So this is useful if you, for some reason, you really want to keep some old cube that is, I don't know, there's this single configuration that works with some specific software, and nothing, you should not touch it. So yeah, happens, so you can do that now. There are some more Qrexec performance optimizations. So this is second part. Some of that went into 4.2 already, but there is new thing in 4.3. So basically for the GUI domain, if you observe how you do, I don't know, QVMLS, listing all the cubes in the system, there was a very big difference in the performance between DOM0 and GUI domain. So in DOM0 it takes 1 second maybe 2 if you have a lot of cubes. In GUI domain it took half a minute, sometimes more. This is because this call makes a lot. This command take a lot of calls to retrieve all the information about cubes, and making a call. We looked at like initializing the call took 50 milliseconds or more, depending on the configuration, sometimes even 100 milliseconds. If you multiply that by the number of cubes and number of properties, it's not great. Okay, so we did some profiling, and it turns out most of the time is spent on collecting a list of cubes you have in the system to evaluate policy for the call. So this list actually is mostly static. Well, you can create or remove some cube, of course, but you don't do that every second, usually. So we added a cache. And this reduced the time spent on making Qrexec call by 80%. So it's now much faster. It's still not as fast as in DOM0. There is still very visible difference, but I think it's starting to be usable. It wasn't before if you had a lot of cubes. I have 2 test systems specifically prepared to testing performance like this with 100 something cubes. So yeah, that wasn't great, but now it works. And the second small change is removing last share script from that path. So if your Qrexec service is some binary, you don't need to call it via shell anymore. Yeah, it didn't improve performance that much, but generally the less shell, the better. So why not? Custom persist. This is something people asked about, and also there were some implementations out there to have half disposable cube. So you want a cube that is not fully persistent, but also you have this one file you want to persist between to survive or restart or something. I don't know. Browser bookmarks in your browser, but the whole all the rest of the profile should be gone. Whatever. Previously it required quite a bit of changes, and there is a project that implements some of that with Qubes VM hardening. It did a lot of stuff to like undo a lot of Qubes startup thing that was using this /rw, some running some config, startup scripts, etc. So yeah, we added this custom persist feature, and it's basically, if it's set, you can do it using QVM feature tool. This disables using /rw for all the implicit configs, so there's the RC local firewall script, etc. is not used from there anymore, and the only thing that is used is are the directories you explicitly directories or files you explicitly configure with this custom persist feature to be used from there, or using bind dirs configuration stored on the root file system. The one from the /rw is ignored because that wouldn't make sense, but the one from root file system is still used. So this requires trusting /rw much less. So the hope is that if you have some application, if you have some cube that get compromised, restarting it should result in cleaner state. Still, the files that you set to preserve here will be preserved. So if there is some problem with parsing some of the files you choose to preserve, the cube will get recompromised on the restart. But if you have some software that is not too easy to exploit by this file you choose to preserve, then it's fine. Wayland. There was some work on Wayland. So in the current state, there is experimental support in KDE session. So upstream KDE is switching to Wayland completely. We have it by default still on X11. If you install an extra package, you can access KDE Wayland session. It kind of works, but it's illusion because most of the Qubes stuff is still using X-Wayland under the hood. So you run Wayland compositor, but internally it's using still X11. The only thing that really uses Wayland right now is the installer. The initial setup component is running on Wayland. So yeah, there is some more work on that coming, but it's definitely not going to hit 4.3 at this point. I hope I will have some more to share next year, and hopefully with some progress with GPU acceleration for VMs. Yeah, maybe we'll see. And I think last one, minor thing, you can have some free text field in the for the VM description if you like. You can put some whatever nodes you like. Just some extra metadata, useful to have. Okay. There are few points that are in progress, but in the end didn't end up in 4.3. So there is a set of pull requests for DNS over IPv6. We do have IPv6 support for the network traffic, but even if you enable that, DNS is still going over IPv4. This is a problem if you connect to IPv6 only network. I notice this every year on FOSDEM because they have two networks and one of them is IPv6 only. So yeah, I have some workaround, but we have some in progress proper implementation for that, but unfortunately didn't finish it in time for 4.3. There is one more update regarding updater, the new GUI updater. So currently when you update DOM0, there is no information about progress. You can see the text output if you really want, but there is no like progress bar for that. So there is a pull request with implementing, like reworking the whole DOM0 update approach to properly report the progress. But again, this wasn't finished in time to get it in 4.3. Will be in the next release. And finally, packaging unified kernel image. So this is then EFI file we combined with kernel and initial RAM disk in a one file that can be signed, and then you can use that with secure boot. So there is the packaging is ready. And there is some instruction how to use that. There is a tool to make this package, but we had some issues with like figuring out how to what properties should be in the certificates that signs it to be accepted later with for the official secure boot support. Yeah, so this is not included in 4.3. Maybe it will be as an update. This is a small change because most of the infrastructure is there. So we'll see. Yeah, so what about 4.3? We have the second release candidate published last week, this week, last week, last Friday or Saturday. Yeah, something like that. There will be at least one more. There is one major thing that is in progress, very close, and I really want it in 4.3. It's the Unix update and also Qsecure template update, because they're working on updating to Debian Trixie. And when that happens, which is very soon, the Unix 17 will lose support shortly after. I don't remember exact details, but basically we need Unix 18 to update to Unix 18 to have it supported during the whole support time for 4.3. So to avoid like releasing point release just after the final release, we decided that we will wait until it's ready, and it's very soon. So this means there will be RC3. There is a schedule published on the website. It's the RC3. It's in 4 or 5 weeks, 4 I think, and after that, we'll see, depending on the feedback, bug reports, maybe soon after final release or yet another release candidate. We'll see. Both options are possible. And yeah, so that's about 4.3. A bit about team and the community. We have some changes in the core team. Demi left the team. But we have 2 new members, Ben Grande and Val Paquet. Ben, you probably met on the various communication channels, and he already was working on some of the major features, especially the preloaded disposables. And Val will work on the Wayland and the GPU acceleration. She is currently working on similar similar features, but in another project of IT that ITL is working on. But it's the plan is to get it working on KVM first, and then have half of the part of that work done already on KVM, which should be simpler in theory, and then only add Zen specific part to have it in Qubes. That's the current plan. We'll see. Yeah. And while preparing this slide, I was wondering if I haven't forgot anybody, and of course I did. There is also Guillaume, and he's somewhere there, yeah, who also joined us this year. Sorry for forgetting to include the slides. Yeah, so the team is growing, and yeah, and also we have more documentation maintainers now. We have three of them. There will be a presentation about the documentation later today, if I remember correctly, or tomorrow. No, tomorrow. So yeah, there is a. We have finally switched to read the docs and Sphinx documentation instead of GitHub pages with a lot of custom scripts. That was very hard to maintain, but yeah, it's there, and we have more people. And some community stuff is happening, more templates people are working on. There is this Win backup integration. It migrated to Codebug recently, not GitHub anymore. Well, there is a mirror about GitHub, I think. And a lot of pull requests from the community. I also need to mention Ali. He provides a lot of those. It's great, yeah. Yeah, so that's it. Questions?
Yeah, I guess you mentioned this audio weirdness. Like, please note that many people use, streaming good, high quality mics like Yeti over USB. So.
Yeah, so that's exactly why this is included. So now it should be, the USB audio devices should be easier to use on Qubes. There is no GUI integration for that, but that's will come at some point.
Yeah, so and can you comment a little bit more about the UKI, because like this is already sad.
Yeah, so there is an issue about UKI. There is an issue with like proposed the signing certificate and the hierarchy. There were like 2 comments. What is about it, whether it's good or not. There were some ideas how to improve it, but nothing conclusive. And I'm not expert in this part, so. Yeah. It's basically blocked on that.
What about providing ability for the users to use their own?
Yeah, they can. The script is there. It's a single script you can call with, like version of the kernel and version of Zen to build the image, and then you can sign it with your command.
Mm-hmm. And what with the update?
Yeah, you can sign also updates. There is this kernel install mechanism where you can put a script to be run on every update. So you can like put your signing command in that script.
Any chance for packaging that or something like making it easier for the user?
We'd like to have this official package signed. If we can't figure out what the certificate should look like, I have no hope for users to figure it themselves. So.
Yeah, but then you have Microsoft in the chain, so.
Well, you don't.
Everyone wants that.
Yeah. The point is to have a Qubes certificate for assigning this key, and yeah, at some point we want Microsoft to also sign this certificate, but you don't need to. Like you can trust the Qubes key directly. You don't need to trust the Microsoft and all the certificates it signs. So. Yeah.
One last one. So if that certificate will be published, can this be part of the certification process? To have it on the machine which is certified, to have it already in the, as a KEC, for example, so Windows certified, so Microsoft certified Windows, and expect KEC, sorry, DB.
Yeah, DB, yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
So I have a question about the proxy, the notifications proxy.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are some notifications with which basically have some action items.
Yes.
Was this considered?
Yes.
Is it working?
Actions are supported.
Okay.
Are part of this proxy. There is some limit on the number and what you can put on the actions. I think we don't support icons on the actions, only text. But yes, actions are supported.
Okay, that's great. Thanks.
Okay, so thank you.